Good morning. Welcome to Unity of Kanawha Valley. Let's see, Eleanor, would you ring the bell? Want to ring the bell? Daddy will help. I'll light the Christ candle. Look at her haircut. Wow. And at Unity, we ring the bell and light the candle to remind ourselves of the Christ that each of us carry within us. And now, if you'll please speak with me our opening statement, and you will find that on the inside of your bulletin. We'll say that together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God, the good, omnipotent. And let's take just a moment as we breathe that within and affirm that truth in our hearts. And now let's affirm it together once more. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God, the good, omnipotent. And so it is. Well, we will begin our music with these fantastic musicians. Can't wait to hear them. Ron Saul and Ryan Kennedy. Yay.
Thank you, Peggy. Would you please stand? We'll sing Surely the Presence right inside your front cover. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel His mighty power and His grace. I can hear the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on His face. Surely the presence of our God is in this place. Surely the
have a few first-time visitors. Would you mind introducing yourselves, please? Welcome. Nice to see you. We're happy you're here. And over here we have, yes. Very good. We're glad you're here. Well, let's see what we've got here. For our announcements this week, prayer chaplain Alexa Peck is available after church, and she will meet you right here under this beautiful picture for a short unity prayer. She will take you through that back door there, and you can pray in confidence with Alexa, and it's very powerful. So thank you for that, Alexa. We have a prayer chaplain program here at Unity, and we have 5 prayer chaplains. So it's growing and it's thriving, and they make calls once a week to the members. Once a month, sorry. I didn't want to put any more work on you than I had to. And they are so powerful. They are so affirming, and we really appreciate that program. That's wonderful. Unity of Kanawha Valley is collecting luggage and bags for the children, backpacks for the children at the Davis Children's Shelter as they leave the shelter to transition to their home. So if you have any of those, if you come across any of those, or some of our wonderful people go out and collect them, right, Danny? And yeah, so we have a nice ministry going there. We also collect cleaning supplies this month and new washcloths for the Sojourner Shelter. That's in August, and we thank you for donating to that. There is a barrel at the bottom of the steps in the basement, and I think Pam, where'd she go? There she is. You take those over, don't you? Yeah. So appreciate that, Pam. There is a board meeting on this Tuesday at 5:30, and it will be here in the activity room. So if you're on the board, a couple of us here, you know who you are. And we have some booklets in the sanctuary out there in the vestibule. Please feel free, and there's some right here, I think, to take them. They have some powerful unity lessons in them, and I think you will really enjoy reading those. So that's all I have, and next is what?
This is the time when we give ourselves permission to let go of everything out in the world, to just kind of gather your energies, to bring them here into this room. And so we'll just do a short meditation to get you centered and grounded and your heart ready to receive what is here this morning. So if you feel comfortable doing so, you can close your eyes, or you can just soften your gaze, look at a point on the floor, and take a nice, deep, relaxing breath. Just feel your energy coming into you. Begin by focusing on this act of breathing. Where is it that you're most aware of your breath? Is it in your nostrils, your mouth? Is it in your shoulders as they rise and fall with each breath? Can you feel your chest rising and falling? Maybe you feel it in your belly. Just notice for a moment where you feel your breath. Now, allow your consciousness to move inside. into the area of your heart. And imagine that deep within you is a safe, sacred place where you have access to everything you need. You can imagine that as a sacred garden filled with all the beauty that you hold most dear. With each breath, just look around your garden. Create it exactly the way you want it. The perfect temperature, the perfect level of comfort, the perfect light, all the sounds that you love. Maybe there's birds singing or water in a brook. Imagine the smells that might be in your garden, the things that appeal to you the most. Just allow yourself to breathe in the beauty, the perfection, as you look around this sacred space within. And then notice that there is a seat for you, the most comfortable place you can imagine to sit. It was created just for you. It fits you perfectly. And take your seat there in this place where you belong. Relax into that seat. Relax all the muscles of your body. Let that seat hold you. And allow yourself to feel love and peace and safety. And acknowledge to yourself that here in this place inside you, that you have access to the divine. This is the kingdom within. And just breathe in the gratitude and the love and the acceptance that exists here. And now take just a moment to create an intention of what you'd like to get from today's message, from your presence here today at Unity. What is it that you would like to receive? And whatever that is, give yourself permission to receive it. And seal it with a nice deep breath. And then you can slowly open your eyes and gently come back into this space.
So relaxed I may nod off. This morning's daily word for Sunday, July 25th, is journey. My life's journey begins and ends in the heart of God. I feel excitement at the beginning of a journey, thinking about the adventures, the beautiful sights, and the fascinating people I will find at the journey's end. Even as I look forward to reaching my destination, however, I remain alert, open to the adventures and insights that await discovery along the way. My faith tells me that my spiritual journey began in the heart of God long before my human birth. In childhood, I looked outward, longing for the adventures that would become waypoints on my journey to maturity. Now I journey inward, longing for the spiritual home I never really left. I am learning that even the most ordinary day can become an opportunity to realize that the heart of God is present everywhere. And from Psalm 121, verse 8, the Lord will keep your going out and your coming in from this time on and forevermore.
This is a request from our speaker this morning, Janet. Picked this song because it goes with her lesson, and it's from the perspective of a musician who is called on to sing for a lot of funerals for friends, and he asked the question, who will sing for me? Oft I sing for my friends when death's cold hand I see, when I reach my journey's end, who will sing for me? I wonder who will sing for me when I am called to cross that silent sea. Who will sing for me? When friends shall gather round and look down on me, will they turn and walk away, or will they sing one song for me? I wonder who will sing for me when I am called to cross that silent sea. Who will sing for me? Who will sing one song for me?
Awesome. Great. This morning we're blessed to hear one of our own that has spoken here before, and every time she speaks, she gives us such a powerful message. And I hate to miss it this Sunday, but I'm going back with the kids for a little bit, so y'all have to tell me how she did. But I'll watch it on Zoom, YouTube. How's that? But Janet is such an integral part of our church. She's the head of the prayer chaplain team here at Unity, and she's so instrumental in so many things around the church. And she's always the first to say, I'll do it if you ask her. And we love her for so many reasons, but that's just one of them. Please welcome Janet Prince. And kids, if you want to join me, we'll go back to Sunday school. Thank
you. How is everybody doing today? Good. Oh, I didn't mean to scare you. You can go back with Miss Peggy. She's got some snacks back there for you. Whenever I'm asked to speak here at Unity of Kanawha Valley, the first thing I do is go into the silence and say, what should be the topic? And usually it will come to me then, or sometimes when I wake up the next morning, the topic will be there. Well, this time when I do that, what came to my mind was this Unity booklet, Peaceful Passing. This is not an easy topic. But if we take the time to examine how we can have a more peaceful passing and how we can help others have a more peaceful passing, we will be better prepared for whatever life throws at us. Now, this booklet has 3 different sections. The first is what we know of death. The second is what we experience. And the third, what we can do. So that is how we are going to examine this topic today. What we know of death, what we experience, and what we can do. Now, back in the late 80s, early 90s, there was a little parlor game that went around that was supposed to be psychologically accurate. And what it would do, it would ask you a series of questions. I think the first one was, if money was no object, what car would you drive? And then it would ask you to name 3 adjectives to describe your car. And it went on, it asked a series of questions like that. And then at the end, the administrator of this test would ask you, or he would tell you what each question meant. Like one question was designed to show you what you knew about yourself. And the next question was designed to show you what other people think of you. But if you're willing and trust me enough, I would like for you to participate in just the last question of this little game that went around years ago. And this one is a little bit different. You don't need to come up with any adjectives. With this one, I'll be giving you a scenario, and I'm going to ask for your gut reaction. Just put yourself in this scenario. What is it you feel? What is it that comes to mind? That's all there is to it. So if you're willing, just take a moment and close your eyes. Now put yourself in a room with no windows and no doors. What's your gut reaction? Would anybody be willing to share? You don't have to, but Barbie has a microphone here. If anybody's willing to share, what was your gut reaction to being in that room? Danny? Yeah, we have to do it on the microphone so that the people on Zoom will hear you.
Turn on the lights.
Turn on the lights. Sally, did you have one?
Fear.
Fear. Mm-hmm. Yes. Beth?
Anxiety.
Anxiety. Isn't that interesting? Oh, Annette,
Why am I here?
why am I here? How interesting. Thank you, Barbie. For me, when I first took this test, I saw light. I put myself in a room with no windows and no doors. I saw 4 white walls. I saw light. And the administrator of the test looked at me and said, "You must have no fear of death at all," because that question is designed to show you how you feel about death. And think of the different answers we just got. Anxiety, fear, turn on the lights. Exactly. And I feel that most of us, whatever our reaction is to death, it comes or it stems from what we were taught as children. I have known death all my life, and I say this because the year before I was born, my parents lost a little girl. She was 2. I'm sorry. Her name was Linda. So I grew up knowing that death meant you weren't here anymore, because there were all these pictures of Linda, my sister, but she's not here. But another thing I knew was that even though Linda wasn't here, the love my parents had for her never went away. That love still remained. Now, I think most of us in this country, if we are brought up in a Christian tradition, we are taught from the time we're just little, okay, if you live a good life, you're going to go to heaven. If you live a bad life, you're going to go to hell. You know, and so this colors then our feelings then about death. Now, for me, my parents were Jehovah's Witnesses, so they didn't believe in hell. They said a just God would not torture you forever if you did 70 years of evil. Even if you were the worst person ever, they wouldn't do that. And they quoted scriptures like Romans 6:23, which says the wages of sin is death. So if you're a sinful person, an evil person, you die, your slate is clean. That's what they believe. And they also referred to the scripture in Matthew 9:24, where Jesus speaks of the little girl not as dead, but as sleeping. And so their belief then was that you are simply sleeping, that that's what happens when you die. You simply go to sleep. Now, my problem with all these ways of thinking, and you're free to follow me in this or believe your own thing, of course, you know what Sky always tells us, if you want to believe what I say, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. God loves you anyway. But my problem with it is that it then reduces us to just being human, to just being flesh and blood and bone, but that's it. But Unity authors give us a challenge. They ask us to think of ourselves as spirit beings having a human experience. So this means I was spirit, then I'm human, then I would return to being spirit upon my death. So what if that's true? What if we are spirit beings having a human experience? Rather than being fearful at the thought of death, could we learn to embrace our transition? And not just our transition, but the transition of loved ones, which is much, much harder for us. So in this Unity booklet, Peaceful Passing, the writer is Rebecca Wynn, and she asked us to consider this. I believe the design of life is divine, all of it, the living and the transitioning from it. Nature knows this, but many of us have forgotten and thus create our own suffering by resisting this sacred step. Thinking of death as the end does not allow for the beauty of the mystery, the unfolding of the majestic unknown, the possibility that what comes next could be an ecstatic experience of peace, an expansion of consciousness beyond what we can imagine. What if in death, the joy and fulfillment we strove for in life washes generously over us, swaddling us in the warm, deep peace of understanding? What if death is actually enlightenment? James Dillett Freeman, the Unity poet who penned the prayer for protection that we say at the end of every service, he referred to death as a door. And here again, this is from the same booklet, Peaceful Passing. Life does not begin with birth. It does not end with death. Life is an eternal process, an eternal progress, a visible form, an audible voice, an aggregation of organs, a network of ideas. We are more than these. These are the trappings of visibility. We are expressions of the spirit of life. When people die, they do not cease to be, they only pass beyond human sight. Death is a door through which we pass into another room. It is a rest between two notes in an unfinished symphony. It is a page we turn to a new chapter in the book of life. It is not the end, it is a new beginning. It is not the fall of the night, it is another dawn. When my mother passed, I was in the room and I had my little dog with me because in Mom's later years, she had dementia, and so some days she didn't know who I was. She always knew who the dog was. She would say, "Looky who's here, it's my puppy." And I'm like, "Thanks, Mom," you know. So I was there with my little dog, and my sister was there. Her name is Meredith, and my Aunt Jenny was there and her husband. And so we were sitting around Mom's bed, and Meredith was actually sitting on the bed. And Meredith's husband comes in and brings their little dog, Sophia. Well, Sophia knew Mom, and she sat in my sister's lap, but she nuzzled my mom's hand. And so we're still sitting there with Mom. We know the end is near. Sorry. And all of a sudden, Sophia starts growling. And this was not like that dog at all. She was not a growler. And I looked at her, and she was looking directly over my mother's head. And that's when I realized that my mother had taken her last breath. So I am firmly convinced that that dog saw my mother passing through the door and didn't quite understand it. That she saw that spirit leaving the body, leaving the human, and returning to the spirit realm. Now, Unity minister, let me find his name here, I'm sorry, Richard Carlini. He tells us here, it can be challenging to think of yourself as a spiritual being having a human experience. The truth is that this human experience begins and ends. We take our first breath as we enter humankind and breathe our last as we return to our true self, the spiritual being that we indeed are and have always been. The practice then is to know our connection with the universe, our oneness with God while in human form. To know that we are each a unique spark of divinity, a spiritual being. We align with this knowing through prayer and meditation, spending time in the silence. So what we really know about death is that it is inevitable. Human beings die. That is how it is. But our death is a transition to something much more beautiful. And so Unity authors invite us to embrace the beauty of the mystery. And we can do this, we can prepare for our peaceful passing and help others have a peaceful passing as we spend more time in prayer, meditation, or whatever it is that makes you remember the divinity in you, the spirit in you. I think one of our members gets that feeling when she rides her motorcycle. I get that feeling when I listen to beautiful music. So prayer and meditation are the basis, but there are many activities that we can involve ourselves in. Taking a walk in nature can also help us to remember that we are spirit beings having a human experience. So what do people experience when they make their transition? If I went through each and every one of these, we'd be here every day. So I'm just going to read you these things, these 6 things. If you pick up one of these booklets, and they're available on the table out front and on the table here, or if we are out of them, Pam can try to order some more for you. But what we experience, they talk about the inner circle. So having people you trust to be there with you, or being there for someone else. Let go and let God. Strong in the midst of the storm. Accepting change without fear. Walk with me, and balancing hope and reality. And that is a tough one, because in Unity we know that with God all things are possible. Even a miraculous healing on your deathbed, that is indeed possible. But we have to balance that hope with the reality that all humans will die. So I do encourage you to pick up this booklet and read the stories. These are mostly Unity ministers, and they tell their stories of being there for someone and how being part of the inner circle helped them, how learning to let go and let God helped them, how being strong in the middle of the storm, how accepting change without fear, how walking with someone, how balancing that hope and reality really strengthen their spiritual side. And then finally, what can we do? This little booklet talks about hospice and how that is a resource that is usually only used at the last minute, but it is there for you way ahead of time, and is something that can help make it easier on your loved ones when you pass. And then it asks, who will speak for you? Who will sing for you? And beyond stuff, leaving your legacy and the healing power of music. My mother lived in Zanesville, Ohio, and I moved there to help take care of her in her later years. And jobs aren't plentiful in Zanesville, and one of the things that I did was that I actually worked at Zanesville Memorial Gardens. And that is a cemetery. And what I learned from working there, and I'll tell you, I wasn't very good at it. Now, I was good if someone would come in with a need that day. I was fine. But going out and drumming up new business, I was not very good at that. But what I did learn is that everyone is going to need a burial plot or some sort of plan for what to do with your ashes. You're going to need that at some point. If you don't make the plans for what you want to happen to you, you are putting that on the family at the worst possible time. So the loving thing to do is to plan ahead. It's also cheaper, because I can tell you, if you come in on the day that you need it, they're going to charge you sometimes double. And that is a fact. So if you plan these things ahead of time, A, it's going to save you money, but the most important thing is it's going to make it easier on your family when you do pass. So we have available this booklet, 5 Wishes. They're on the table out here. It's available on a donation basis. We suggest $5, but whatever you can give is fine. And this booklet, you can write down my wish for the person I want to make care decisions for me when I can't. My wish for the kind of medical treatment I want or don't want. My wish for how comfortable I want to be. My wish for how I want people to treat me. And then finally, what I want my loved ones to know. So this is available to you. You can also probably go to any funeral home or cemetery in the area and get something similar. But a loving thing to help your family be peaceful with your transition, take the time to fill out something like this. Also, if you go online to unity.org/peacefulpassing, there are many resources there that you can avail yourself of. So the bottom line is, if death is inevitable, how do we make our own passing peaceful? We can take the steps to plan ahead, and we can pray, we can have a daily practice of meditation or walking in nature or whatever it is that makes you remember your divinity. And how can we be there for others to make their passing more peaceful? Have any of you ever had the occasion to be there for someone when they were making their passing? Would anyone, boy, just about everybody. Would anyone care to share that experience? You don't have to there again, but if you want to, just hold your hand and Barbie will bring you the mic. Oh, Beth, okay.
I think I've shared this before. I was, when my father was dying, it was actually the afternoon before he died, I was sitting there and all of a sudden this love filled the room. It was so powerful, it almost felt like it was hard physically, like my heart was going to burst. I just was very aware of such a powerful love that was sitting there with me or in the room with me the day he died later on that day.
Yeah. Would anyone else like to share? Annette?
I just want to share something that happened to me just a couple of weeks ago.
Oh my.
My husband died about 12 years ago, and I have his ashes in a box, wooden box, that is inside another box that says love.
Oh.
And for some reason, I was getting ready to go to a family gathering, and for some reason, I opened that box, and there was an envelope from my 3 granddaughters. Oh. And each one of them was telling their grandfather they loved them and they would always be with them.
How beautiful, how beautiful. Okay, thank you, Barbie. So I think everyone who has been through this will agree that no matter how hard it is one of the most rewarding experiences that you will have, to be able to sit with someone and help them have a peaceful passing. So I'm going to leave you with what I call a prayerful poem. It was written by the Reverend Dorothy Pearson, and it's called Treatment for a New Self-Image. So just take a deep breath And allow these words to settle into your heart. I see myself as a spiritual being. I am spiritually endowed with everything that I will ever need for my eternal ongoing. I lack nothing. I rejoice in the possessions of my life, but I am not possessed by them. I rejoice in the people in my life, but I do not look back and long for the past. I live today enriched by experiences of the past, but free in the eternal now. I hold no grudges. I do not use the word blame. I am a spiritual being, capable and strong in accepting the responsibility of my own person. In the realization of my spiritual self, I find my oneness with my Christ within. I am inwardly guided, outwardly protected. I walk the way of this earth, doing that which is mine to do. I am not possessed by anyone or anything. I am free in the warm, healing, loving realization that I am a child of God. And so it is. Amen.
Will the ushers please come forward? And in your bulletin, you'll find our offering blessing. We can say together, divine love moving in and through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love, I trust God, and I am grateful.
Some bright morning, when this life is over, I'll fly away to that home on God's celestial shore. I'll fly away. This is your part. Oh, I'll fly away. Oh, glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Oh, how glad and happy when we meet, I'll fly away. No more cold iron shackles on my feet, I'll fly away. Hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Come on, Ryan. just a few more weary days and then I fly away to a land where joy will never end. I'll fly away. Oh, I'll fly away. Oh, glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Oh, I'll fly away. Oh, glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
We're so grateful for these offerings, and we bless these offerings. We're so grateful for the community, for everyone that comes to this beautiful church, for everyone on Zoom, for all of our friends. We are so grateful for this abundance, and so it is.
Now it's my turn. Thank you, Alexa. And now if you'll join me in forming our circle, we'll sing our peace song. And do we have any birthdays to celebrate? Somebody's got a birthday, surely, or you know someone that has a birthday.